We just got back from Bullet Train, and all we can say is wow. That was probably one of the best movies we've seen all year. It's like a live-action anime mixed with James Bond and Fast and Furious action, baby. Before we continue, there are heavy spoilers ahead, so here's your official warning. Directed by David Leitch.
More on him later.
This movie is absolutely peanut butter and jam-packed with action with a wonderful amount of comedy. For the first time in a while, this movie had the audience of a theater cracking up at the jokes and sequences, and it really tied it all together for us. Bullet Train follows Brad Pitt as Ladybug, an assassin and secret agent, if you will, tasked with retrieving a briefcase with $10 million in it on board the world's fastest train in Japan. Without giving too much away, he finds out there are numerous other assassins and secret operatives on the train, and their missions all intertwine in some sort of complicated spiderweb. The common thread is the Japan mob boss, the White Death. Ladybug is just trying to get the briefcase from Tangerine and Lemon, two operatives trying to bring the briefcase back to the White Death, along with his son who is kidnapped. Also on the train is Joey King as Prince, who we later find out is the White Death's daughter, who is tailing the operatives to kill the White Death by pushing a little boy off a balcony, and the father of the boy comes back to get revenge on Prince, and the grandfather of the boy wants to kill the White Death for killing his wife way back when. Boy, I'm out of breath. The tangled web of a movie is a wild ride from start to finish, and it'll have you on the edge of your seat. Let's take a deeper look at the movie and explore some 25 things you may or may not have missed in Bullet Train. I'm Joey C. Let's go. Besides the normal build cast of the movie, there are some surprising faces that pop up throughout the movie. We see Channing Tatum pop up halfway through the movie when Lemon comes up to him mistaking him for Ladybug. Also, throughout the first half of the movie, Brad Pitt's Ladybug talks on the phone with who we can assume is his mission director about what he has to do. And we find out later at the end of the movie that the woman on the other line was in fact Sandra Bullock. More on her later. She is no stranger to action films either, as she starred in 2018's Ocean 8 and the 1994 classic Speed, baby. Speaking of Sandra Bullock's character, Maria Beetle.
Also more on that later.
In a parallel Hollywood universe, it could have been the pop queen Lady Gaga herself in the role of the master organizer. Unfortunately for all the little monsters of the world, Gaga couldn't commit to the film due to the filming schedule conflicts with her filming House of Gucci instead. Director David Leitch told Entertainment Weekly that it wasn't going to work out because filming for House of Gucci started right before Bullet Train and even overlapped filming. Although, Gaga fans, don't be too upset. It was just announced that she is starring in Joker 2 as Harley Quinn. Director David Leitch and Brad Pitt have had a long working relationship before the summer blockbuster Bullet Train. It was very interesting to find out that David Leitch has worked as Brad Pitt's stunt double in multiple films, including the 1999 classic Fight Club, 2004's Troy, and the 2005 banger Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And, on top of that, Brad Pitt also made a cameo in David Leitch's second directorial effort in 2018's Deadpool 2. From stunt double to director, baby. Follow your dreams, kids. Let's do a nice and easy one for you. Bullet Train sees the famous Greg Rementer, the famous stunt coordinator, attached to this project. He worked on classics like Nobody, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. According to the wonderfully talented man himself, Brad Pitt did, quote, 95% of his own stunts in the movie. Brad Pitt doing his best Tom Cruise impression, if you will. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm kind of an anime noob, but as I was watching Bullet Train, I couldn't help but think that this movie was based on some sort of anime because the entire movie was so outrageous. Come to find out, Bullet Train is based on the Japanese novel Maria Beetle, which was created by Kotaro Isaka, and the work was first published in 2010. The novel follows several hitmen aboard a bullet train, each on a different mission, interconnected in some way, and takes place after Isaka's novel Three Assassins. Not only did it make it to the big screen, but it was also adapted to the Japanese stage. And like we said before, Maria Beetle is also the name of Sandra Bullock's character in the film. A movie that's in pre-production as of August 2022 is a movie called The Division, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. The movie shows a near-future setting where a pandemic virus overtakes New York City because of a virus that is passed through paper money on Black Friday. Now you're probably asking why we brought this up. Well, the original director for that film was the director of Bullet Train, David Leitch. Come to find out, he actually left this project specifically so he could work on Bullet Train. The division is now being directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber. Bad Bunny makes an appearance in Bullet Train as the Wolf, another assassin who's looking for vengeance against the person he believes poisoned the cake at his wedding, resulting in the expiration of everyone there except for him. Now, I've never listened to Bad Bunny, and the only reason I know about him is the fact that he appeared at WrestleMania 37 in 2021. What I thought was particularly interesting was the fact that in the credits, he's not credited as Bad Bunny, but as his real full name, Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, which makes me think of when The Rock was credited as just The Rock instead of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Let me feed you a nice and easy short entry for you, my friends. The trailer of the movie features the classic song Stayin Alive by the Bee Gees, made popular by the classic disco movie Saturday Night Fever. Side note, I can't hear that song without needing to dance. But anyways, the song that plays in the trailer is actually performed in Japanese as an ode to the Japanese roots of the film, Spanish as an ode to the Spanish and Puerto Rican actors in the project, and English, the original language for the song. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Tangerine, a wonderful and swagger-filled character who's also a brutal assassin. There are some rumors floating around that some big Sony executives reportedly reached out to Mr. Tangerine after being impressed by his scenes in Bullet Train, because they wanted him to star as the title character in the 2023 movie Kraven The Hunter. Speaking of Tangerine, him and his so-called partner and brother Lemon often mention throughout the film how close they are and even show a flashback to them as kids, leading the audiences to wonder if they're actually related or not. Lemons and tangerines, the fruits, belong to the same exact fruit family. This could be an Easter egg that could mean that the two assassins are in fact related by blood. Although rare, there have been multiple real-world accounts of mixed twins being born to interracial parents. Bonus, baby! The fruit truck driven by Lemon at the end of the film is the same exact fruit truck that almost hits Ladybug at the beginning of the film. Back to the list. The director David Leitch made his first leap to directing with an uncredited role in the first John Wick movie, starring Keanu Reeves as an assassin out for revenge. Sound familiar? Come to find out, there was nearly a cameo from Keanu Reeves in Bullet Train as a therapist. I'm not kidding. Throughout the film, Brad Pitt's Ladybug talks of his therapist Barry, but is never shown on screen. According to Leitch, he wanted Reeves for the role, but the scene never came to fruition. The director does tease, however, that the therapist could appear in the sequel to Bullet Train, which, by the way, apparently there's going to be a sequel. On to the fantastic Joey King, who I first saw in the wonderful true show on Hulu called The Act. She plays Prince in Bullet Train, a seemingly innocent little girl, but is actually another assassin who is planning to assassinate the White Death, but is also a master martial artist. Interestingly enough, this is the second movie this year she plays a master martial artist princess in the 2022 movie, The Princess. Back to the wonderfully handsome Aaron Taylor Johnson, who has a stash that could melt steel beams. His body, however, is not as powerful, sadly. During the filming of Bullet Train, he was hospitalized after an accidental stunt malfunction that required him to get stitches and stay overnight in the hospital. In an interview with Variety, he talks about how he filmed a specific stunt. He hit a piece of scenery that wasn't padded and passed out as he landed, and even asked if he could do the take again before being taken to the hospital. He went on to say that he went on a keto diet to get skinny and lean for this role, so he had low blood sugar, and he took a corner of something to the hand, taking a nice chunk out of it. Sounds so gross, but the man was fine after a sleepover with some wonderful doctors. In an interview with Empire, director David Leitch went on to say that the fight scenes in Bullet Train are largely inspired by Jackie Chan, the famous martial artist and actor, and his ability to incorporate physical comedy into the various action sequences. Leitch also explained that the fights are designed to enhance the characters. And let me tell you, some of the funniest sequences in the movies are the fight scenes, specifically the ones that take place in the quote, quiet car. More on that later. And another one that takes place in the carriage for the snack carts. The director specifically wanted to use fast hand motions and environment advantages for the hero, which was pretty successful. One thing I always love to find out is what was the budget for said movie I'm thinking about. So of course I thought about the same for this movie, because good lord, this movie is filled with crazy expensive sequences, like when the train becomes derailed at the end of the movie and basically destroys an entire town. It's a long story, we don't have time. Anywho, apparently the movie costs less than half the budget of films like No Time to Die. Great movie, by the way. Go watch it. So you're probably thinking, wow, half the cost? That must be small. Oh boy, do I have a shocker for you. The budget was around $90 million. Good God, man. And that doesn't even include marketing costs. What's even crazier is Brad Pitt got paid $20 million to do Bullet Train. Can you imagine doing one movie for $20 million? Holy funnel cakes, man, that's crazy. Speaking of the very rich, very handsome man Brad Pitt, Bullet Train generated a huge amount of buzz from both Japanese and international audiences alike. Not only because it features the very famous Bullet Train and a stylish depiction of travel life in Japan, but also because it stars the beloved, quote, Barapi, which is the nickname for Brad Pitt in Japanese. Pitt is apparently a huge star in Japan, and each of his movies are eagerly anticipated in the country. Let's take a look at the fact versus fiction between the real-life Bullet Train and the movie. Also, side note, aside from the exterior shots of Tokyo, much of the filming locations for the movie were actually filmed in California. It's probably not a shocker. There are many differences, but a few small ones are, for instance, the real Bullet Train doesn't tend to have a quiet car, but most carriages are usually quiet anyways. The stewardess outfits worn by some of the actors in the movie share some similarities with the real thing, but are more stylized for the movie. And also, while Japanese train stations do tend to have lockers available like shown in the beginning of the movie, they are not directly on the platform as depicted. Another side note as well, the speed line shown in the movie does not exist, but it does bear similarities to the real-life Bullet Train line. Back to Bad Bunny, who played the rival assassin, The Wolf. He told GQ in an interview that he almost punched Brad Pitt during the rehearsal for one of the fight scenes. Now I gotta tell you, punching the most celebrated mature face in cinema history is quite embarrassing. As the star of all three Kissing Booth movies and Hulu's The Act, the 22-year-old actress Joey King should have been past those first-day nerves when playing Prince. But as Joey King told Collider, the caliber of Bullet Train's cast and crew took her a minute to process. She said, quote, "I've been doing this for a long time, but with such heavy hitters in the movie and David Leitch directing, I felt like a kid on the first day of school, because he's the king of stunt work and action." It's rather interesting to hear about actors getting nervous on set, even if it isn't their first project. To prepare for his role as British assassin Lemon, the Eternal star, Brian Tyree Henry, could have drawn on a number of hitmen for inspiration. Bizarrely, he told Empire his performance channeled the spirit of a kid's TV favorite, just like in the movie. He explained, "Lemon knows how to tell the marks based on certain characteristics of Thomas the Tank Engine." He went on to say he can tell if somebody's reliable, somebody that needs to be killed right away, or somebody that is actually up to little schemes. The actor added, "I would find myself whistling the Thomas the Tank Engine theme song in between takes. One time I pulled out my phone to check on something, and Aaron Taylor Johnson was like, 'What the hell are you doing?' I told him I really needed to understand the difference between a diesel and an autonomous engine." Bullet Train has so far been very well received by critics and audiences alike, but you'll struggle to find a reviewer who enjoys it more than Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays the British hitman Tangerine. He said, quote, "I watched the movie last week, and I was literally howling with laughter, to the point that I almost peed my pants a little." So the man peed at the premiere. That actually makes sense, because it almost happened to me. This movie is absolutely hysterical. Please go watch it. Bullet Train has shapeshifted many times since production began, evolving from a brutal R-rated actioner to a more comedic mood. But as David Leitch told GQ, one goal has stayed consistent, even in the depths of the pandemic, to deliver a movie that thrills on the biggest scale. The number one goal was to make a movie that's entertaining and escapist and fresh and original that will make people want to come back to the movie theater. It's no secret that Hollywood is built on back-scratching, and Sandra Bullock agreed to appear in Bullet Train only if Brad Pitt returned the favor with a cameo in the 2022 movie The Lost City. When Lemon is talking about trains to the son of the White Death, who they are trying to deliver back to the White Death, he described the son, Logan Lerman, as Percy the Train. Now, Logan Lerman is known for playing Percy Jackson. Was this intentional? Probably not, but I'm in charge here, man. And finally, There is actually a mid/post-credit scene in this movie, which has become kind of a staple in filmmaking in this day and age. The scene shows Prince, played by Joey King, pulling out a gun on the heroes of the film after the bad guy is defeated, and we think, oh no, one last twist. But nope, Prince gets run over by a fruit truck driven by Lemon, saving the heroes one last time before the movie is over. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else in between, you made it to the end of the video. What did you think of Bullet Train? Did we notice anything that you didn't? If so, let us know in the comments below. And as always, everybody, thanks for watching.